Ladies and gentlemen, let's start our round table focused on the business issues, and we would like to discuss two main issues. We will show them to you now. We will have a very strict agenda. On the screen we have our wonderful guest from Mars. But there is a problem, we cannot see slides. Two questions that we have, and the people will answer these questions briefly, and after that we will divide them in small components. That is a life in a new reality, just a practical view, and prime cost issue, and your representation was a kind of preparation for this part when people are living not the same way they lived before. So, and I remind you one more time about time limitations, and we will have timer, and in 1 minute we will have a sound. Every participant will have just 1 minute, and after that he'll stop just at the half of the phrase. And all other participants know the topic of the discussion, they know the rules. They have 1 minute just to say the most important things. So, I would like to introduce our guests. Let's start from our guest from Mars. Could you please tell us something? Hello, everyone. I'm from Task Force LSP. Can you hear me? Yes, Natalia Gorbachevska is here from Mars. And from left to the right, here there are rather significant figures of this business. Yuri Tsverkun, Kirill Fedotov from Intex, Alexander Bondarenko Translatel, Fyodor Bezrukov, director of Logos IT office in Kyiv, and I'm the director of the whole corporation, Logos IT. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go straight to business because all our issues are rather acute and our speed will be significant. Please give us the slides. Great. The first one, the changes, breakdown by client services, rates, processes, work, and we will start from Natalia on every question. Leonid, I cannot see the slides. I will read it to you. It's the question number 1, and you will have 1 minute. How significant was the decline in your business from March till May? What are your expectations now? Do you expect the second wave? You know, we have several businesses, and in general there was decline of a group. We have transport business, and it suffered significantly. Regarding the translations in March, April, and May, we made 85% of the plan from the expectation, 15% drop. We don't expect the second wave. We are working in the office already. I work from home because of my kids. Since June, our staff returned to the office, and we hope the second wave will not come. I'll explain the question about the second wave because the big clients will start the second wave themselves. They will start cutting the assignments or prices. Sorry, Natalia, your time is out. Let's start from Fyodor. I wouldn't say that it had a huge drop. We just had a very strange schedule because 1 week was too busy, another week was almost empty. But in general, we didn't feel some serious decline in volumes. the general number of assignments grow. We don't expect for a second wave, but we've noticed the trend. Some clients are using that and give us ultimatums to reduce the prices. That is the next question. We are not expecting for a second wave. Wonderful. Let's give the floor to Alexander then. We didn't feel the first wave, probably because we had big volumes in IT. In March, April, we even had a small increase. We didn't feel the first wave. That's why we kind of expect for a second wave. I cannot tell you gladly, and only one client asked for a discount. Pause the mic, please, Kirill. Regarding the declines March to May, yes, we had a very serious decline, especially in April and May, about 25%. It's about 5% decrease for a year. Based on the year result, you'll have 5 to 10%. But there are different services, there is a different dynamics in them. And regarding the second wave, more serious wave, most probably no, because I think that the world is adapted to the situation.
Okay, then you are doing quite good. We even know the numbers for the entire year. Yuri, the microphone is yours. Okay, we will not disclose the numbers about the entire year, but the second wave is something we do not expect. Okay, so a brief summary. Half of you saw some small decrease, like maybe some percentage, and also 20% of the participants did not answer. Natalia simply didn't have time. So my question right now: are you waiting for any second wave on the part of your customers? No, we do not wait for it. The big corporations, our customers, have reacted quite quickly and decided to try to change price quickly. But still, we have contracts that have been signed long ago, and we have adapted our services from time to time. But please, Natalia, keep close to the topic. Okay, we are not waiting for the second wave. Okay, I make you speak fast because we have quite a big number of questions first, and the discussion will follow. So I do not want us to stop in the middle of those questions. Okay, so it is quite successful with the questions for now. Let's proceed with the next question. What about the price pressure on the part of your customers? What was the percentage of your customers who demanded the reduction of prices? And also, once they have requested this, have they provided any explanation and have they specified any particular orders, or they just demanded a 15% decrease without any explanation? And by the way, what were your feelings? Did you want to motivate people not to do this? Actually, this time I will give each of you 2 minutes because that's a broader question. And we will begin with Natalia. And do you want me to repeat the question? Yes, repeat the question to me, please. Okay. So, the price pressure on the part of your customers. What percentage of your customers demanded such a decrease? And was there any explanation in their request to decrease the price? Were they clear about this? Were they asking this as a request or as a demand? Yeah? Natalia, the floor is yours. So let me be as concise and precise as possible. We did not have any avalanche of requests to reduce prices. Some of the customers in some projects requested this. In some cases we agreed, but not because of decreasing the margin. We tried to do away with some additional services that could be included and were not included. Anything else that I had to answer? Did you have the feeling in some cases that they are writing to everyone, just in case? Yeah, it may happen, and sometimes it happens that the customer has an entire pool of contractors and they are selecting the one with the best price. But we are doing our best for the customers to have other reasons to choose us, for us to have other advantages except for the price. So we are more suitable for this particular project. Of course, for this we have to train our managers better, and they are able to react and to respond better. So did you have the impression that the customers wanted to reduce the prices for everyone? No, I did not have this feeling. Maybe I just don't know about something, but me personally, I didn't have this impression. And also, we are talking only to the procurement departments. Let us begin from a different end. Yuri, same questions. Should I repeat them? Okay, so if you can read from the screen, it's much better. Unfortunately, it's only Natalia who cannot see them. So, the price pressure from the customers. Okay, it was a small percentage. I don't know it right now, but I do not feel any problem there. So, in our case, that was a carpet bombing and no one received any discount, but we have not lost any customers. So, we have not given any discounts. We are satisfied with the result. So, you have to pay the honest amount of money, and we will be working with you because our pricing is quite honest. Otherwise, we have a big number of competitors who are ready to serve you. Kirill, you have 2 minutes. So, what was the percentage? Up to 5% requested the reduction of price. And in this case, those were targeted requests. We were not as strict as Yuri is. If the customer indeed was in a difficult situation, we did our best to support the customer. And the additional factor here was time limits for this special pricing. So for some customers it was something like 3 months, or for another customer it was till the end of the year. So it was quite clear in this regard. Also, it was a fixed percentage for all the types of works we are providing. Alexander. Just as I said before, only one customer out of 100 requested such a reduction. In his case, again, he used the carpet bombing approach, but it was quite an unusual approach because it was sort of one-sided change. So the conditions of cooperation with this customer was that they offer us to do some job and we can accept or decline it. So we simply declined it. Next, when it comes to large projects, sometimes we get requests for discounted amounts, but this also happened in the pre-crisis times. So I did not observe any change, especially any mass change. Even 5%, we didn't see it at least yet. Fyodor? We have hundreds of customers. For now, I only know about 2 cases of such carpet bombing, and one of those requests was formulated in such a way: it is COVID-19, the situation is terrible, you should give us 15% discount, otherwise we will not work with you anymore. Of course, we declined in this case. Another customer who wanted to get some discount because of COVID-19, it was a very important direct client, very precious to us, but because of an already small margin for that client, we were very clear, and we have constructively explained our inability to provide any discount. We have explained that we have already provided this discount, and actually we could increase our price because of the COVID, because we have additional expenses because of that. But no one has informed us about discontinuation of our cooperation, and especially this did not happen in mass numbers. Out of those requests, in our case, which were not numerous at all, the 2 first requests we got somewhere in the end of March, and those requests came from 2 major MLVs, and this was kind of a carpet bombing. So they maybe were expecting us to be afraid of the situation, and even if we lost those clients, we would not lose much. And quite simply, we could decline that request. And by the way, those small trickling profits from such customers continued. And also, one more customer who requested such a decrease later, again, was not a very profitable customer, so to speak. So the most greedy ones are also the ones who request such discounts. And again, those were, so to speak, carpet bombers. They demanded like 15% discounts, and they do not take into account such facts that they are that we are spending some amount of money for the translation itself, another amount of money for the office, etc. So if we could increase our costs by 5%, this would be already a great accomplishment for us. And also in this case, we would be able to pay a bonus if this was a decrease by 5.5%. At least that's the feeling we have now. Maybe we are too naive, maybe we are uninformed about certain things. Next question here. I see some delay on the screen, but still. Second important part here. This is something I'm going to read for Natalia and also for all of you who do not see other small letters. Okay. Have you noticed any changes of productivity because of your employees working from home? Well, there are numerous reasons involved, like the disappearance of this boundary between home and office, and maybe people are not able to respond as fast as before. Maybe there was a percentage of your employees who requested to work from office, and they were quite insistent in this. We will begin with Natalia again. This is quite a broad question. We will give you 2 minutes. Thank you. So this drop of productivity, this is something we have not noticed, and actually we planned to get more managers, but later we decided not to do that, and actually the productivity numbers did not drop. Sorry, there is some problem with the sound. I can hear you quite well. So the sound is as if someone is drilling something somewhere. Okay. Actually, our productivity has not fallen. Actually, the workload of managers increased because we also wanted to hire 2 additional managers, but they have somehow managed to fulfill the plan. Of course, it was difficult for them. Of course, this boundary between home and office was necessary, but we have introduced a virtual office, and actually each manager was hearing each other, communicating and supporting each other, almost as if they were in the real office.
But everyone was asking to come back to the offices. Everyone asked us when we can come back to our office. And also every morning we have 5 minutes meetings. As discipline was very important during that period. And everyone was updated. I cannot say anything bad about quarantine. We even saved money on the office. How did you do so? Did you ask for discount? No, we just moved out from the office. We paid it till the end of April. You don't have office at all at the moment? We do have. From July, we moved in to new office. Did your new office is smaller? Look, we had 2 companies. We still have 2 companies, but other ones suffered more. That's why now we kind of downsized it. Gentlemen, please don't mix the papers because there are next questions. From who shall we start? Alexander, shall I repeat the question? I can read it myself. The work of employees from home, loss of performance. For the first 2 months, they were 11% more efficient, 11.3%. How did you measure? If it's better feel like that, it's 11.3. After that, it became the same, but it didn't decrease. Employees work from home in the same way as in the office. First times they worked even better, maybe due to the fear. Regarding loss of performance, yes, we had it. About 20% of our employees want to come back to the office. They even say they're trying to imitate return from office because they couldn't stop working at home. It's a serious problem now. About 20 other percent liked a lot working from home. And from August, we are returning everyone into the office. From July, the management is already in and they don't want to come back. And the rest doesn't care. What about your discipline? We didn't lose any. Performance was high. After that, it was the same as in the office. The speed of the reaction, right? Everything was fine. Yeah, and we understood that those 20% who don't want to come back to office due to other factors. For instance, they don't want to waste time on traveling into the office. So, and you have loss of discipline because the washing machine is working in a parallel way. Could you please repeat your question? How do you measure the performance? Very easily. Every linguist can make about 2,000 effective words plus minus. Ideal timing. Thank you very much. Who will be the next? Kirill. Loss of performance in comparison with office life. I cannot give you direct answer because it depends on employee. If he was disciplined before, he will be the same at home. If he was lazy before, it could worsen. If there was a loss, just small loss, I would say, regarding the discipline, speed of reaction, probably the same answer. For those who had problems with that before, expressed it more. For those who were good in that, they're still good. And we have about 10 to 80, 10% of those who were afraid to return to the office, 10% who didn't want to leave the office, they were sitting there even during quarantine, and 80% just followed the recommendations of the management. Thank you very much indeed, Yuri. Work of employees at home. Did you notice loss of performance? I've noticed overtimes. As far as I understand, that was the compensation for the distraction during the working day. We didn't measure it that strict. I don't have any percentages. I've noticed overtimes. I didn't notice any problems from client side, any claims. There were some tiny problems, but I don't even want to mention them. As for me, team reacted very good. We were ready for 80% for remote work. Just first 2 weeks. No. We will have separate question on remote work. Let's just discuss discipline, conveniency, performance. Those who wanted to come back to the office, those who wanted to stay at home. Discipline. As I said, there were some cases, but they were not critical at all. And some employees were desperate to come back to the office. We had just tiny percentage of those employees. Okay, but you mentioned overtimes. There were overtimes with loss of performance, or that's what you told, that it was just compensation for the time wasted during working day? Do you pay them for overtime? I don't pay them overtime. And regarding performance, I feel it did, but I didn't measure it. How would I measure it? Would you give them time tracker and ask them to turn it on when you work? I don't believe in it. Further left, and Further is eager to answer. The work of employees from home, loss of performance. No, I didn't notice any loss of performance. Conditions were not that convenient. They never worked from home before. From the very beginning, our company was ready to work remotely because we did it before as well. Our schedule is very flexible. We allowed the employees to work from home for 1 day, 2 days. I didn't notice any loss of performance. I've noticed some slight decline of discipline, but it was fixed by daily meetings. We had 2 meetings a day for 5-10 minutes each. In the beginning of the working days, they told their plans, and in the evening what they achieved. And it happened to be very useful, and I'm planning to carry on this practice. We had these meetings in Microsoft Teams before. Now we just have a chat. Sometimes the speed of reaction is slowing, not before they went to walk a dog, for instance. But because the employees were busy with something and didn't want to get distracted. In the office, I could just come to some employee and ask. But here, they were busy with some urgent projects, turning off all the communication means. About 25% of our employees asked to come back to office. Now, work in office is optional, and most probably till the end of the summer we will work this way. We don't have any problems with coming into office. If you have comments, now we can do it, because congratulations. You were great with timing. We had rent discount about 70% for a few months, and also we understood that working from home is hard emotionally when you're closed in four walls and you cannot leave because of the quarantine. We had some yoga online, we had reader's book, cinema club, we had a lot of communications. I made YouTube streams once a week, once in 2 weeks, to have everyone on the same page. But we were worried about emotional state of our guys because it was hard, and not everyone has the most convenient working conditions at home. And we brought smartphones to them, we brought the office desktops to them. Management was just wonderful during this time. The managers supported our employees, our translators, but we had a kind of retrograde Mercury because we had COVID, we had fire, cyber attack to our servers, attack to our strategic networks, and all that we had during this time. Next question. Return to the office. How are you going to return to the office? Are you going to do it at home? As Natalia told us already, and now she can give us more details. Is she going to have some kind of selective visits to the office to have social distancing norms in the office? Natalia will start as usual. You have 1 minute. As I've said, from the beginning of July, everyone works from office. I wasn't a huge supporter of this idea, but everyone asked to come back to the office. That's why we decided to do so. I haven't been to the office. But they sent me reports, there are sanitizers everywhere, that there are some social distancing norms in place. We moved the tables, we also have disposable plates. All sugar, salt are in paper stick. We followed the recommendation of global companies that were made for their offices. And also we made a kind of shifts for office work. But we really needed live meetings in the office. One brief question. At the moment, just everyone is in the office, right? Yes? Except for me. Wonderful. Yuri, you had some comment before we started this question. About 60% of employees. Yura, could you please say more loudly? About 60% of employees are in the office already. We have all the necessary norms established. And are the 40%, where are they? The managers of the department take the decisions themselves, who will work from home, who will work from office, who will come to the office. Just seldom. You don't have one schedule right now, we don't. Kirill, what about you? We returned to the office in the beginning of summer. We were kind of early birds in the middle of June. We established a kind of hybrid office model. All employees have a right to work remotely 1 day a week without approval, and if they need more, we don't mind, but it's up to the manager to decide. Regarding saving on rent, no, it's not the question. It's not the question at the moment. That's the next one. That's it, right? That's it then.
Александр, да, время пошло. У нас вернулся с июля офис менеджмент.
Since July, our office management is in the office. From August, I'm planning to return the linguist into the office. As I already said, some people don't want to come back to the office. Those who want, I don't know. We are not going to downsize the office.
Ага, я понял. Собираемся возвращаться, да, однозначно собираемся.
Are you going to come back? Yeah, for sure, we are going to come back. We are not that technological capable to arrange the work of 100% of employees remotely, plus it's impossible to train the new ones in remote mode. Further, your minute.
Yes, we are planning to go back to the office gradually. We are quite good with teleworking. Everything is in the cloud to the extent we could do it. So there is no big problem. We are not in a hurry. We are going to do it gradually. We are going to do it by the end of the summer. Maybe the departments will interchange. One day we will have the editors department and the translators department, etc. I will add just a little bit. Everyone was very brief in their words. Okay, in our case, it depends on the geography of our company. In China, the COVID situation improved very fast, so we were able to start in the end of March. In Korea, there was no lockdown. The number of cases in Korea was quite small. The rules about wearing masks and social distancing were quite strict, so they kept working in the office. Also, Fedor has shared about their experience here in Ukraine. As for Moscow, that's more complicated because of the big number of people working there, over 100. So in Moscow, we only have people who are absolutely necessary working in the office. So it means like the management, the accountants, the system administrators, etc. Those who are absolutely necessary. As for all the rest, we have certain plan, but we are afraid to do it fast because everyone is using public transportation, and everyone has friends and relatives. There is a high chance that someone will bring in this infection, and in case this happens, the government is going to be quite strict with us. There will be very complex checkups and very complex sanitary measures. So we have arranged about this comeback. We have made arrangements about social distancing and also the disinfector. So this may look quite scary, almost as if we are in the outer space, but still. So what are the potential benefits? So some of you probably could temporarily save on the office rent, and also alienation. Again, did people staying at home for a long time, do they still feel a part of the team? Do they still want to participate in the discussions of different problems? Does it happen to you that a person replies in a very formal language? Natalia, the floor is yours. As I have said before, we have moved. Our previous office was paid for till the end of April. And as far as I knew, we did not get any special offers for it, so we have just moved away. Another business that we have has lost quite a lot, so we had to downsize. We had to switch to a new office, and it is about 20% less expensive. The people did not grow wild because of this staying at home. Again, we have quite active communication with everyone. There was no formal reply that I would get from my employees. And again, I do not see the slides. Yeah, but that's not a problem because you have answered all the questions I asked you. So right now, let's give the floor to Fyodor. So, as for the rents, we are in the very center of the city, and there always was high demand for the office we are using. Our owner of the building did not have any stimulus to reduce the price, but actually they reduced the price for us. As for Moscow, you will hear from Leonid. We do not plan for downsizing because we are already a small and effective team. As for the alienation, well, I do not have this feeling. I do not read the daily communication, but I have the feeling from our daily communication that we are working in the same way as before this COVID-19. As for the rents, we managed to get a 60% discount for 3 months, and gradually it changed, and since August we are going to pay 100% as before. We do not plan for any downsizing. We do not feel any alienation. Our staff meetings happen about twice a week, sometimes more often additional meetings in case we need them for any particular purpose, but we have not spent enough time until lockdown to feel any alienation, and people actually are supportive to each other because of this difficult situation. Kirill? Well, we have not saved anything on the rents. That's connected to the structure of the office we are renting. We are also not planning for any downsizing for the office. We are actually using the opportunities provided by the crisis. We managed to hire some additional people for whom we were looking quite a long time. We do not observe any alienation. We do not observe any official responses from our employees. There were some short daily meetings. Also, our CEO became quite a popular video blogger, so once a week or even twice a week our CEO recorded some videos for the employees, and we actually felt as a team. Yuri? So, you have to answer about savings on the rents and alienation of your employees. So, we have saved on the rents. These savings are not going to continue, if we put it simple, but yeah, there will be some small savings, but we are not seeing this as something big. As for the teamwork, I do not believe that those work-at-home teams can function well, because unless you are doing some task which you can do alone, I do not believe in those remote teams. And so we are dependent quite strongly on this team spirit, and this is why we are not going to work offline. We are not going to work online only. As for our office, again, it strongly depends on the country. It strongly depends on the owner of the premises, and the difference is huge. In Moscow, the director was quite persistent in trying to get a discount because we rent quite a big office spaces. They managed to get a 20% discount, but the owner did not get any discount from the government, so we are paying 100% since the beginning of August. So there is no big competition for the offices only if we have any serious economic decline in the economy and people will not need offices anymore. In this case, we will have some opportunities to get a discount. And in other countries like Korea, the working ethics is quite high, and we do not observe any changes with the office rents. And is it possible to switch to the online operation only? And what are the other problems that have to do with this almost on the online mode of function? So is it possible to totally switch into the cloud? Is it possible to do without office employees? Well, we could do it, but we understand that it is not really effective. We tried to train the new employees whom we hired during the quarantine, but we were not able to do it in the online mode. So maybe if we make the transition to agile in the nearest future, the schedule will be more flexible, people will be able to stay at home for more, but it's not possible to switch to the cloud entirely. And what about the benefits and drawbacks of working from home? Any insights? Not really, only advantages. Okay, who is next? Who wants to add? Okay, Kirill will begin. Is it possible to switch to the cloud entirely? I believe yes, we are quite ready for that technologically. We are ready for that even before COVID-19, but actually we should make a difference between standardized processes. As Yuri has mentioned already, it is simpler to do it offline, but otherwise, if a project involves a big number of people and communication and creation of new services and the involvement of HR and marketing department, that's more complicated. As for the problems, we actually do see a big problem with the integration of new employees. Any other enlightenments or insights about the big numbers of people working online? No. Okay, we will give the mic to Yuri. The floor is yours. Is it possible to switch to the cloud entirely? I would rephrase the question, do we need such a transition? Sometimes it can meet someone's business needs and sometimes it doesn't. In my opinion, it's not a viable solution for my business and for my company because it does not create value. So I do not believe in this. As for the advantages and disadvantages, we have trained some employees. We do have a learning management system for several years already, so we are able to feed the person with knowledge, so to speak, and we are able to ensure the high quality work based on those pieces of knowledge. But as for the teamwork, this is something we are not good at yet when training people online. By the way, pay attention, everyone has the same pain point, which is the integration of new employees, teamwork, team values, also the response speed, etc. So, by the way, what's happening in our corporation about this cloud? Certain things are almost impossible to do without the office. We are not able to record sound because we have a studio. We have to bring the performers there, and not every performer has a studio at home because maybe their neighbor is doing some drilling, maybe there is a subway under their house, etc., etc. The same is true for sound engineers and video engineers because this requires quite complicated and powerful hardware. This requires big screens, even if we are ready to provide this for people to use at home. Not everyone has enough room for this at home. And also they have to process terabytes of information. So even if you take a bit of this work home, you will not be able to process it fast enough and to deliver on time. So those who are involved in this media production, those who worked on games, they have to work from the office. So some types of work are difficult even to imagine how to do them from work. And next, when it comes to integration into the team, just as Yuri has said, everything that has to do with teamwork, team values, team approach, and the team feeling that is common for the old employees, this part is quite difficult.
Now we're going to spend the final 15 minutes for the second group of questions. We won't be able to finish all them, but let's at least start. Those are the following questions. I have a problem with my clicker. It's cost. In the new reality, control of the cost means survival of the company. Yuri has already emphasized this. So who can accurately calculate it and make the right decisions? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. It's a yes or no answer. As you think, based on your space rating, how good is your cost control system? Natalia, we're starting with you. 30 seconds. Time is yours. I think that yes, we can count the cost. Calculated for the second year in a row. We've had this budgeting system built in, and we calculate the spending and the income, and to make decisions we have enough information. I have enough information about cash flow, and the management at their level also do it because they dig deeper. Thank you very much. Who is going to continue? Alexander already has the microphone. Please, 30 seconds. As I said, we haven't felt the crisis fully yet. Maybe in several months we'll feel it to the extent that the colleagues mentioned, but we can calculate accurately, and I hope very much that we're going to win in this game. Whether we can make the right decisions, so far we've been making them. Great, thank you. Kirill, please. Just the first part. I think that control of the cost is a thing that we've had in our company far before the crisis. Since the company was established, yes, we've been controlling it, yes, we've been calculating it. We're very lucky to have our own TMS that calculates this cost of very different variations, formats. We have a lot of analytical data, and we have no problem with that. Can we make the right decisions? I think that if we gathered here and we successfully are having this conference, then it means yes. Great answer. Yuri, are you going to add anything? 30 seconds, time is yours. I'm going to quote Buffett. He has a similar phrase. Crisis is like water going back in the ocean. It will show who was swimming without any swimwear. So cost means the swimwear that you either have on or don't. Crisis points out your problems and gives you the point of growth. And crisis is possibility. It's about that. You could start calculating what you didn't calculate before. Thank you very much. Fyodor, please. You were the last to speak. 30 seconds. Can we do it? Are we far along? We could do it generally. Now we're learning very actively to calculate in detail the decisions. Yes, I hope that we can make the right decisions, and in the future the new methodology of counting the cost of any kind of services will help us greatly in that. That's it. Thank you very much. Let's look at the more detailed parts of the picture. I'm going to give each of you 2 minutes because I will need you to answer deeper. So far we just asked you whether you can do it or not. I want to congratulate congratulate everybody because they said that they can. And so the model of calculation. Can you count deeper than the general income and spending of the company? What are you thinking as general spending of the company? Is it administration, accounting, system administrations, communication soft? How do you calculate non-productive hours of the employees that they spend for the tasks where they directly don't earn the money, where they directly don't perform the tasks related to the clients, but they still need to do some work in those hours? And then, do you know the share of those hours per employee? What is the share of non-productive hours? I think, in my opinion, it's the main problem of any service company. And then again, what is the responsibility of every particular client? The hours, the employees, outsourcing on projects, specialized software, what else? Natalia, should I read it again, or do you get the question? Natalia isn't with us. She's out. Let's start with you. Oh, I'm here. Natalia, we have you. Okay. I'm just back. I apologize. Did you hear the question? No, I didn't hear the question. I'm going to read it from screen. Are we counting deeper than the general income and spending of the company? And what do you put on a separate client? Well, as I said, 2 minutes. Time is yours. Yes, as I said, we have a comprehensive budgeting system. We make the budget for income, for spending. I think that to general spending, it's IT, marketing, HR, standard things, all the administrative and financial duties and everything else, all the production, of course, we put it on the client. So we put it into the cost, into the price. What's with non-productive hours? What do we do with them? Can you calculate them, and how do you spend them? We don't calculate them separately because for that we have a system of financial incentives where we have qualitative and quantitative KPIs, and it's about the managers and about the linguists as well. So here we're managing. The managers have a plan, sales plan, and there are other plans for those who are actually working on translations. So it makes no sense to count the non-productive hours. And for linguists, it's per page, and we also look at quality, if there are any claims from the client or the editor. And for editors, we look if there are any claims also. Do you know the share? We don't calculate them, so. And what we put on a separate client? I don't quite get this question. We, in general, put all of our spending into... I'm going to explain the question to you and to everybody else. Let's stop the timer, and then you're going to give me a brief answer about that. You have a client, and for those projects, you had to buy specialized software. You wouldn't have bought it otherwise. It can be a CAD system, it can be a system for sound editing, it can be any other designer system. Where do you put the spending? Is it does it lie on the client? Does it lie on the project? On the company? Where do you put the spending? Because the cost will vary greatly depending on that, and it is really important where you put the spending. So it's a trick question. We don't have that. We haven't yet bought anything. It's just an example. We haven't yet bought any specialized software for a client. So you don't have a client with specialized spending? No. That is related to productive process? No. Everything that is related to production, we put it on the company, and that's it. And that they don't go to the client. Who is ready to answer this complicated, difficult question out of those present here with us? Everybody is silent. Further, then you're going to be the one to start. Time is yours, 2 minutes. Okay. I'm going to start, and Leonid will continue if before, just as many of our colleagues, we put everything, this general basket of spending, then now we are trying to separate it as much as possible. Everything that's related to a separate client, even if it's about the big project, we try to put it in the project. If you need to buy software that is only for this client, we include this spending into the cost for this client. And accordingly, this spending It's not calculated into the cost, into the pricing for clients that are not related to this expensive software. On non-productive hours of employees, we started taking them into account. We started also including them into our cost, and it allows us to see a more specific picture and to understand what prices, what rates we can offer. I'm going to let you continue. I'm going to continue after everybody else so that we would hear the opinions of others and would not repeat ourselves. Further gave you something to start with. Kirill is the bravest to continue. 2 minutes are yours. It's a complicated question here. Are you counting deeper than the general income and spending? Yes, we do. It's an easy answer. And then again, we have this project management system that we have. We customize it for us, and we can get any data at the level of the client, at the level of the project, a group of clients. We control this cost very specifically on different kinds of services. We relate it with how profitable we are and so on. General spending of the company, I don't know, it's hard for me to say here. I'm not a financial professional. We just work with spending that we constantly have and some other spending. So do you have clients that require some special spending, special software? No, we don't have such clients. So it all is put into, it's kind of service. If we have certification of documents, then yes, it's only about this project. So specialized spending related to the client, you just don't have them, do you? No, we don't. One time a client offered us to buy some program for several $1,000s that was required to do some kind of work, and I think that at the time we said that we need a minimum guaranteed volume of this project. Do you count non-productive hours? No, we don't. Who is the next to speak? Alexander. 2 minutes, time is yours. Are you counting deeper than the general income? Yes, we do. And if there's nothing special there, then we analyze them per year. What do you count into the general spending of the company? Administration, accounting, system administrations, communication soft. Well, I'm gonna join Kirill here. We don't have that. We had a similar situation. If it's very small, it lies on the client, but they're so small in the general volume that we don't notice them at this level. Hours, non-productive hours, no, we don't take them into account. With a very rare exception, but that's an exception from the rule. We only have Yura to speak on the subject. 2 minutes, time is yours. Are you counting deeper than the general income and spending? Yes, we are counting very deeply, thanks to my financial department. I'm going to say this. If you didn't look deep into the language pair, into every service that you provide, if you don't look that deep, you're just summarizing, you're just not calculating really. What do you think is the general spending of the company? For a very long time, I was trying to answer this question to myself, trying to find the truth, and there is no truth there. The answer to this question depends on the particular business that you take on. And to everything that's variable, you put the variable things. To everything that's constant, you put the constant things, and there is no third thing. How do you calculate the non-productive hours of employees? Well, per client, and until you do, you pay for it from your own profit. You have either spending or the profit, where you can take money from everything that you're not taking from the client, you're taking from your profit. Do you know the share per employee? Yes, I do. I have a life hack here. Leonid, to you. It works perfectly. There's this thing called zero invoice. When does it work? You have the hours that you do for the client, but the client doesn't pay you for them. And then you have an invoice where you include those hours, and you have 100 discount, and you send the invoice, and then you say, well, you're not paying us for this, and they will be ready to pay when it's like invoice number 5 with 100% discount. Yes, we have this in our manual for project managers, all the kinds of jobs that are not included into the standard cost. And I'm grateful to Yuri for making the time. Everything that's not included in the standard cost, and the client requires you to do this. And the most painful part of every business, the bigger the business, the more difficult it is to manage this. Where is the line? Some clients, they don't know about this. They think that for the price of translation, you need to compile the glossary by yourself, even if it's a small job that you're doing for them. It depends on the client, but I think it's the main problem when you're trying to see what goes into them. Some basic things are included anyway. It's editing, or like its layout, it's editing the sound. What's included and what's not? It's a very hard and philosophical question. You need to discuss it with client extensively, and of course they don't want to pay. But in the manual for project managers, we have it written that if the client is absolutely stubborn and doesn't want to pay for some additional work that has been done, and the client requires a lot of communication, you spend like 2 or 3 hours talking to them in the email, because they're sending an email every 15 minutes and they're asking for something, they're requiring something, they're asking to replace a file, and the time is going, and it's not included into the standard cost, because the standard cost we take the work and we do this amount of communication that's normal. And it can happen that the client has a lot of inquiries, a lot of things that they ask, and we have the manual that if we have a standard cost, if the client is currently not paying for any additional work, we include all of the additional work into the specification with 100% discount. But therefore, we outline our position. We say that the next time we're going to charge them for it, and the next time if they didn't understand, or if in their agreement that we had to sign it wasn't clarified, so that we wouldn't have this question further, we can't continue it like that. We will have to either raise prices, which is wrong, because those are just some specific hours that we spend on communication that have nothing to do with the price. It's not transparent, it's wrong. Or we will have to count the hours, or we will have to ask the client to be reasonable with the additional questions, discussions, and support.
And now I have a question to the organizers. Do we have to finish at 6 sharp? Because we still have one question left, although everyone was quite diligent with following the timing. But still, we have a big number of questions, and there is a big number of answers. So I hope that everyone will be okay with such a solution, that all the online questions will be answered later. And thank you, dear participants, thank you, dear audience, for your patience. We appreciate your attention, but we are going to give the floor to the wonderful people who are going to speak about the box of chocolate.